Hello, I'm Guenevere, and today I'm in North Portland in the St. John's neighborhood where I'm going to be painting with the emergency tree response team. We're out here to try to save these trees behind us. They've slated this property for development, and that means that these two trees are at risk of being cut down for the new development. Our goal was to bring attention to these trees, which we actually did because we were on the news. So I'll let you watch that and get some more information.
A group of painters gathered in the St. John's neighborhood in North Portland for some art activism. Specifically, they were at 6636 North Richmond. They gathered today to study and capture two maple trees that are likely more than 100 years old. They consider the trees landmarks on a property that they believe will soon be developed. They're hoping that by painting the trees from several angles, they'll reveal their beauty and value and convince developers to not cut them down.
We want the developer to incorporate these beautiful, magnificent trees that have been here for decades, that have contributed so much to the well-being and the grace of being in St. John's. We would like those trees to be incorporated into whatever designs are coming down the line.
The painters plan to make a calendar and send it to the property owner. The finished paintings also will be on display at the Elizabeth Jones Art Gallery in Portland's Pearl District.
I'm very excited to be part of this project, and it's always really nice when a painting has a specific purpose. And this one has more than just a meaning. It actually is trying to save the trees. So it was a really fun project to work on. But now let's talk about my process and how I completed this painting. I did a quick sketch with a watercolor pencil, and using gouache, I'm working on location, trying to capture these two trees. I really liked the angle of looking from downhill up, so I kind of could look a little bit under the foliage and see a bit more of the trunks. They were really huge trees, so I had to kind of shrink them down a little bit to fit it into the composition that I wanted. I wanted the trees and some of the buildings and stuff that's around them, so you can really get a feel for the place. I started this painting quite a bit differently than I usually do. Normally I would go in with the darks, but because I was working on trees and foliage, I wanted to put the sky in first so that I could work the green over the sky so that it looked like the trees were in front of the sky. This doesn't mean that I won't go back and forth between the greens and the blue of the sky to get the right feel, but I just wanted to start with that blue in the background so I didn't have to paint around the green of the leaves later. Now that I've got the sky in place, I'm going to go ahead and start doing the darks, which is what I normally do first. So I'm going ahead and putting in the darkest darks on the trunk, and then I'll continue the wall that's under the tree and along the bushes next to it, just to start to get my value ratio. So I want to put the darkest darks in early so that I know that's as far dark as I'm going to go. I really wanted to capture this dome building that's right next door. It's sort of like a airplane hangar type of building, so I made sure to put that in too. The way that I approached the foliage for the trees, I put in the darks first, then the medium green, and then kind of went back in with the lighter green. And when I was looking at the tree, you can sort of see there's these groupings of leaves, the way that the branches, they're kind of layered. So I started to try to build that layered effect in my trees by putting in a layer of the dark leaves and putting midtones and then going across the top. So this way, this light green, the highlight color, represents the top of that mound of leaves. So if you look at the way the branches are, they do kind of have this rounded shape of form with the lighter part on the top where the sun is hitting, and then you can see in the gaps for the dark shadows, and as that mounded form rolls forward, you get the mid-tone greens. Now you can see that my lightest green is the top part of the mound of leaves or that bush of branches. And I started working in these sort of layers of branches. And as I worked on towards the outside part, I continued to add a little bit more, and so then putting in the lights first, I'll have to go back in and put the medium and the dark colors in to create that three-dimensional form. Even though I'm simplifying the tree, it will still read as a tree. It's just a quicker, easier way to do it when you're working on location. I wanted to make sure to keep my colors really bright and clean, so I didn't do a lot of muting. I kept the colors very pure. And so for this light green, I really just used cadmium yellow light, turquoise blue, and a little bit of titanium white. I really enjoyed working on this project. It was a great excuse to get out with fellow artists and paint together, but also for a purpose to save the trees. And this is an ongoing project that we're going to continue to do this. There's definitely other trees around the city that need to be saved. If you're in the Portland area, look us up. We're on meetup.com and it's called Painting to Save the Trees. It's a public group, so you're welcome to come and join us anytime that we're going out and saving the trees. I spent a lot more time working on the tree, getting that foliage right, really creating those rounded forms, putting in more darks, putting in a little bit of different kinds of lights and medium greens. Then I did the same thing with the bushes, dark, medium green, and then a light green on the far side. Putting in all the other details of the painting. I wanted to make sure to get the house in as well. And I really liked the wall that was in front that had some vines and things growing on it. As well as the fences that had the vines growing across the top too. So I made sure to get all these little details in. Of course, those are always saved towards the latter end of the painting. I don't really break out my small brushes until I start working on the details at the very end, putting on some of these smaller things like the frame of this window. And of course, I'll go back and fix the fence a little bit with my smaller brushes. If you liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Don't forget that you can see all the Save the Tree paintings at the Elizabeth Jones Art Center here in Portland, Oregon.